Hello and welcome to this introductory tutorial on using the finding aids maintained on ULS Digital Collections, Historic Pittsburgh, and Documenting Pitt. Recently, the Archives and Special Collections Department implemented changes to the display and navigation of our finding aids. This short video is intended to walk through and explain some of the new features to make your research easier. Before delving into the tutorial, I think it's useful to define what a finding aid is and some of the terminology that I will be using throughout. A finding aid is a collection guide that will help you ascertain what is in the collection, who created or collected the materials, biographical or historical information on the person, persons, or entity responsible for creating or collecting the materials, and particular topics or subjects that are relevant to the collection materials. I will refer to two main areas of the finding aid. The top-level information refers to fields such as repository, title, creator, date, abstract, scope and contents, biography, and subjects. And this information is intended to give you a holistic view of the collection itself. The second area, or the container list, is where you will find an inventory of the records and information of the boxes and folders they are maintained in. There's often a hierarchy to the container list, and it can be arranged by series, sub-series, record groups, and sub-record groups, just dependent on the collection itself. So without further ado, we can jump into the tutorial. And today I will be using the guide to the Frances Hesselbein papers to demonstrate some of the new navigation and functionality. If you were familiar with our finding aids previously, you'll note that much of this top-level information is still the same. The biggest change is rather than a table of contents box that lives off to the left side of the finding aid, we now have an arrangement box to the right side. The arrangement box functions in the same way that the table of contents box functioned, and it provides an overview of the different levels of hierarchy within the collection itself. You'll notice that some of these hierarchy levels have a small white arrow next to them, which means that there are additional levels of hierarchy that fall beneath. So within subgroup A, the Frances Hesselbein Institute papers, we see that there are series. And within series 1, we see that there are subseries, as well as within series 2, series 4, and series 5. Again, to access anything that falls underneath a level of hierarchy, you just click the white arrow. Anything in the arrangement box functions as a link. So you could click on subgroup A, Frances Hesselbein Institute papers, and be taken directly to that level of hierarchy within the finding aid. Likewise, if you wanted to view subseries 5, Drucker Conference materials, you can click on the title, and you see that we're taken directly into subseries 5, Drucker Conference materials. To be taken back to the arrangement box, rather than scrolling up to the top of the finding aid, you can find a link, Return to Table of Contents, at the bottom of each level of hierarchy. And this returns us back to the arrangement box. Again, I'm going to click on the white arrow here to see what's listed under Series 2, and I see that there are several subseries. If there are no white arrows, such as subseries 6 Peter F. Drucker files, this just means that there are no additional levels of hierarchy. So let's click this, and we'll see that all the items under subseries 6 are listed for our view. And here we have the box and folder information. Again, I want to return to that arrangement box, so I'm going to select Return to Table of Contents, and I'm brought back to the top of the finding aid. You can keyword search in our finding aids, but before doing so, make sure that you select this Expand All to Find in Page listed directly under the Container List heading. By doing so, this ensures that you're actually keyword searching over every single level of hierarchy and not just those that are open. So for example, here we'll look for Girl Scout, which is a term I know occurs throughout this finding aid, and I'm given the keyword search results, and I can browse them as I please. Once I'm done looking through the various places where Girl Scout appears or whatever keyword term you're using, I would recommend doing the same thing, returning to the table of contents. And for any of the larger finding aids, this may take just a moment, but we've returned to the arrangement box. And so that we have a finding aid that isn't so long, let's collapse all. And again, this may take a moment depending on the length of the finding aid itself. Eventually, the page will re-render, and you will have just subgroup A and subgroup B appearing. Let's take a look at digital object links within our finding aids. You'll notice that on some of the items, there's a View Online link that will take you directly to a digital object associated with the physical materials. This is solely dependent on what we have digitized at any given time, and it will not be the same for every collection. There are some collections that have no digital objects scanned. There are some collections that only have portions. But those that do, it will appear here as a link. To view this, you can either right-click and open a link in a new tab, which opens that What It Means to Belong speech, or you can click on the item itself directly from the finding aid, which will open the digital object in that same tab. And after a moment, you'll see. Now, if I want to go back to the finding aid, I can use the back navigation button, and you'll see that I'm taken back to item 1, What It Means to Belong. So the same spot that I was in previously. You'll just have to choose which method you prefer. One other thing to note is that not all finding aids will have this arrangement box off to the right. For example, the Guide to the George Washington Manuscript Collection. As you can see, there is no arrangement box, and this doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with the finding aid or that something just isn't displaying. There's no hierarchy to this collection, and so no arrangement box will appear if there are no levels of hierarchy. And we can tell that there's no hierarchy to this collection because when we navigate down to Container List, we immediately see all of the items listed out below without any sort of series, sub-series, record group, or sub-record group. And again, we have these View Online links that will take us directly to a digital object, which we can access using the Open Link in New tab or clicking on directly. If you find yourself with additional questions on how to use our finding aids after watching this video, please reach out to us through the Ask an Archivist form. And this is available at library.pitt.edu/askarchivist. Thank you for watching and have a great day.